hospitality industry, and my guests are Bruna Amendola, who is a Brazilian gastronomy enthusiast and entrepreneur, co-founder of the international Fogo event, collaborating with various international gastronomy organizations and events. Hello, Bruna.
Hello, how are you?
I have here in my discussion room also Agustin Balbi, who has gained his experience in both South and North America, as well as trained his skills in European and Japanese cuisines, amongst other, at 2 and 3 Michelin-starred restaurants before opening his this year Andō, his first solo restaurant. Hi, Agustin.
Hello, hello, how are you?
And with us, there is also Joris Bijdendijk, who has mapped out his path from a dishwasher to the kitchen chef of renowned restaurants in the Netherlands and abroad in a very, very short time, being now the executive chef of restaurant Rijks and one of the initiators of the Low Food Symposium. Hello.
Hello.
And we have here Patricia Diaz, who is the founder of Chef's Agency, dedicated to gastronomy marketing in Portugal and the Art of Testing Portugal, a platform to promote the Portuguese gastronomy. Patricia also lectures on gastronomy as a part of the luxury management course at the university. Hello. And we have here with us Ricardo Chaneton, who worked at 3 Michelin-starred restaurants before opening his own place, Mono, where he goes back to his Venezuelan roots and distills South America's complex culinary heritage. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
And this is our great set of guests, and we're gonna dive into the subject of the ideas for the hospitality industry in those challenging times. We need to be more flexible. We need to find new ideas, new solutions. Partially, we already discussed and tackled this subject in the first panel when we asked for the future of the fine dining, but we want to go broader. We want to find more what we're gonna do, what we can do, what we have to do to stay on the surface and even more to make our businesses flourish. I think we might start with the Hong Kong and Agustin. Because what you did during the pandemic is something reverse to what we all would expect. So you've opened your restaurant. So this is quite impressive. This is a brave move. So I think we are all interested how it was. How did you come up with the idea that this is the best moment or a good moment to open the restaurants? What were the challenges and what's the situation now? So please tell us.
Okay. Thank you very much. So the first idea of making the restaurant came much before the pandemic was in place. So the idea and the places and the restaurant was already found, the hotels already was given, and then we opened because we have to open. There was no way back. And then the situation was that we were found in the middle of it. At the moment that we opened in Hong Kong, the situation was a little bit better than before, than when I started. So it was a little bit kind of normal, but then after 1 month we opened, the second wave came, and then we will have to open only for lunch, and then close for 3-4 days, and then come back for lunch, and then just 2 weeks ago we opened back for dinner. So we have to do a lot of things that we will not plan, but we have to adapt on the way. So the team, we were not expected to do, for example, delivery. Now we make a collaboration with the bar, where the bars were not being allowed to open. So since we have a liquor license, I say, why we don't collaborate together? And then you do your drinks at my restaurant, and then we get together at F&B, and then a little bit that is how we go. But luckily we are in Hong Kong here. Eating out for people is like the sport. They love to go out. They are super supportive. If you see almost every restaurant in Hong Kong today is fully booked. People will go out, support their favorite restaurant, and usually in Hong Kong, people will travel outside. But since now that we cannot travel, everybody is rediscovering all the restaurants and not stopping going out. They are super supportive.
Ricardo, you are also in Hong Kong. What's the situation from the mono's perspective? What was this time and what is it now? Because we hear that it was quite challenging for opening a new restaurant with this ping pong of closing, opening, closing, opening. But this is something totally different if you start a new business just right before the pandemic. How it was for mono existing for a time, so for a standard business operation model. This time and what is it now? Because we hear that
has been a beautiful ride as well, a lot of learning. We opened on December 2019, so January also it was just new, and the first wave come on February, March. So it was very challenging. It was no easy. No, you are not prepared for that. You don't know what's going on. You never happened to pass through a situation like this one. So it was very a learning process, a lot of open mind, a lot of work, because actually, believe it or not, even if the people stayed at home, it's a lot of thinking behind how we're gonna do to support the business, and the staff, no, the people that is working in our restaurant. So it was a lot of brainstorming, a lot of uncertain, but I think we took the right direction, and we straight away we moved to do a takeaway menu. So with the takeaway menu, we need to say that we was lucky enough to survive the business, to maintain the business, and to don't get rid of any staff, no, to keep the jobs. That is the most important thing. But definitely it was a challenge. It's still being a challenge because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We just passed in August the third wave, and we was lucky enough to go from many cases per day. You have like 150 cases to 0 cases in 1 month and a half, 2 months. Still some little cases around, but the situation has been controlled a lot. But yeah, it's no easy for us, but we need to be very grateful because it has been no bad, okay, compared to another cities in the world and another colleagues. I think we has been very lucky with the situation. Also, I think the community is very ready for this. I think, community is ready for these situations. You know, it's a community that is very supportive and very ready to cooperate, and they know very well that if they don't do the cooperation, the things is not going to get better, correct? So, yeah, it was a very uncertain times. It is uncertain times, and we're ready for where we was very reactive with the takeaways and all other situations, and I think we are doing very well in Hong Kong, thanks to the people also that support a lot of the restaurants, thanks to the society that is ready for these kind of things and contingency. And I think we are talking from the future to many other communities as well, no, somehow, because we are passing things that other communities hasn't passed yet. So I think it's something we need to learn to live with and work around that. But yes, it's something that everybody is suffering, and everybody need to put a little bit of themselves.
Yes, so about being innovative, as you said, that we are speaking from the future to the community, to the people that we are working with or creating the whole community. Joris, I know that you've started a delivery during the pandemic time that was a great success. Can you elaborate on it? What was the idea? What was the success based on what differed during the pandemic from the standard delivery ideas?
Yeah, so we never did delivery before, and our lockdown started on the 15th of March, but we were actually following our colleagues from Asia and from Italy, because everything that was happening in Italy and Asia, 2 weeks later, the same thing happened in the Netherlands. So we saw that our friends from abroad were starting with delivery, and we had just the gut feeling that we should do the same. So even before the lockdown, it was really uncommon, and there was really mixed reactions on it. But the Friday, the 13th of March, we sent out a press release that we would start with the delivery, and I put on a suit of a delivery guy, and 2 days later, we were in a lockdown, and our delivery just exploded. It was not normal and undoable what happened actually. So The first day we had like about 100 portions of our menu, which was sold out in an hour. Next day we did 150, next day 200, and then on the Friday we thought, okay, let's do 300. Let's see what happens. And even before we were open, these 300 portions were sold out, and we started to use the prep of the Saturday. And not even at 6 o'clock, we had like 1,000 meals on order, but we didn't even had that food. So it was crazy, and we had to stop it and rethink like how can we manage this success, because everyone, like all the restaurants are closed and everyone is jumping on different kind of delivery and takeaway. And we kind of decided that we wanted to stop with delivery and only do takeaway, so we could manage the reservations within time slots and everything. And from that day on, we did a maximum of 400 portions a day, which really took us through the crisis. Actually, we could keep the whole team working. So the most important part was like take care of the team. Let's make sure that everyone can keep their jobs, and then let's try to do everything that is as normal as possible. So that means cooking for our guests every day, and we had all these events and charity projects programmed, and we just tried to do all the normal stuff, but in an alternative way. And so it was a really opportunistic time, and a time where we needed leadership and positivity.
And what's the situation with this delivery now? Do you keep it? Do you think that the pandemic is not over for many, many months and you keep this operating model, or what's your approach?
So the good thing is that we know we are flexible, so we can swap the business model from the restaurant within a couple of days. And that is very important, that you don't think you shouldn't do it or whatever. You know, at the end, it's about business, and sometimes you have to do stuff that you weren't dreaming about when you were like opening your restaurant. And the 1st of June, our restaurant business reopened, and we saw that the takeaway and delivery like collapsed. So we kept on doing it for one month more, but eventually it was more helpful to just focus on the restaurant. But now we are gambling, and we are thinking that in the month of December we kind of need to re-pick up takeaway and delivery again, because as in the previous talk was discussed already, in the Netherlands the numbers are going up of people with corona. So we have to be prepared for a second wave.
Mm-hmm. Yes, for in the previous talk we also tackled the idea that it might not be the last pandemic that we are facing. So no matter what happens with Corona, we still have to remain quite elastic and quite innovative throughout the whole time. So it's good, as you said, to know that your business can switch from one operating model to another just in a matter of a couple of days, and you can keep all your staff and all your business alive. Bruna, your time is divided into two places in the world, Spain and Brazil. If you could tell us more, what's the perspective on the solutions you experience in both countries during the pandemic in the hospitality industry, within the restaurants? What differs in those countries? What's similar? What are the hopes of the industry itself?
I think delivery is a new era of delivery things in both countries, because we here in Brazil, I'm in Brazil now, so here delivery is not very popular, was never very popular. So but the people are improving, and all the restaurants are improving very well in the packaging and everything they can improve. and they can resist or survive about during the pandemic and the crisis. We know a lot of restaurants are closing, and it's a shame because they really cannot resist. São Paulo is a very, very large and huge city, but everyone is trying to survive and to do new things. And in Spain, in Barcelona, they start with delivery of, a long time ago in beginning of March, the same situation as Joris comment, in the beginning of the pandemic, and they are doing very well. As Disfrutar is just to start to do a very interesting thing. You can have some kind of Disfrutar at home. It's super complicated, the kind of food they have. So they improved and they launched a cocktail or something you can have before dinner or before lunch, or just eat. And it's surprising how they can move fast and improve in both ways. In Brazil, the people are not. I don't know how to say this, but to have delivery at home. So here the people love to go out and to enjoy time. So delivery was very poor here. Was like just hamburgers and pizzas and so on. So now it's very surprising how the people are taking another point of view, or taking another and receiving people at home with very nice and gastronomic food.
Any other things that you've noticed in both countries apart from the delivery? Anything in the restaurants themselves? Are they now open or they're still closed?
There are many restaurants still closed, and as we were having Alex this afternoon, and he can speak very much more exciting about that. But I think the problem is a lot of gastronomic restaurants depends on the tourists, and that's a shame, because there is nothing to do. Because if the people are in the countries has not support to go to this kind of restaurants, or they cannot open, because to open to the costs of the operation of these restaurants is very high. To receive 10% of the clients they used to have. So if the people start to travel again as they used to do, it's very complicated, because I know, and the people normally travel to in the gastronomic world, they travel to eat, to have good food, and to visit restaurants. And if you cannot travel, you can just stay on your comfort zone, maybe.
Yeah, so
difficult.
This is a difficult subject. We tackled it in the previous discussion, that it's so important to remember about the local community, because this is the community that those are the people that can come to your place when everything is locked from traveling. But there is something else we need to think about, or in terms of locality, and those are local products and local deliveries, like local producers who can do the local deliveries, especially that some of the routes and some of the possibilities of deliveries were closed during the pandemic time, the same for the people and the same for the products. And I would like here to ask Patricia about her view on supporting the local market. You have a project called the Art of Tasting Portugal that is promoting the local products and companies. Could you tell us more about the importance of supporting your in-country or even more local producers and delivers of the products that you need for your kitchen? What your project is taking on as its study for this matter? Could you tell us more about the importance of supporting your in-country or even more local producers and delivers of the products that you need for your kitchen? What your project is taking on as its study for this matter? Could you tell us more about the importance of supporting your in-country or even more local producers and delivers of the product that you need for your kitchen? What your project is taking on as its study for this matter? Could you tell us more about the importance of supporting your in-country or even more local producers and delivers of the product that you need for your kitchen? What your project is taking on as its study for this matter? Could you tell us more about the importance of supporting your in-country or even more local producers and delivers of the product that you need for your kitchen? What your project is taking on as its study for this matter?
Not only in terms of clients, but also you're a small producer that it's really important to help for them to continue to produce that kind of product. And I think this is also a trend to look more national to what you have, to value the proximity, the connection, and to understand what are you eating. In the other discussions, we mentioned the importance of and that people are eating more interesting ways in the quality of the products they are eating. So this is kind of what we're trying to do here in Portugal, and that we believe that the connection away not only through food to help economics, to help health issues, to help the environment. So I think with this platform and through food, we are connecting a lot of different areas that are really crucial at this point and at this moment.
Just for technical aspect, Patricia, I think your speakers are echoing, so if you could kindly put them down a little bit and, if possible, put on the headphones, I think we can hear you then more clearly. And if anybody of you is using our stream to see what we are saying live, then sadly we have the stream back in our stream, so we have to switch it off because otherwise we cannot hear your answers clearly. So if you could all check if there is no stream switched on.
Is it okay now?
And if anybody of you is we still can hear me from a moment ago, so I'm afraid that it's best with the headphones. If you could find headphones, it would be the best for even from your iPhone or any type of small headphones. It would help immensely. Yeah, Joris, we talked about this delivery, and you said that you've limited the number of the portions you've delivered per day to 400 because you wanted also to keep the number reasonable in the way you can serve the people, you can keep the quality of the food, but generally, don't you think that the idea of delivering the fine food from the fine dining is quite controversial, because it's all about how it is being then plated, how it is being finished, what is the ambience in the place that you eat it. So how the delivery of fine dining can deal with those aspects?
Of course, you have to understand that it will never be the same as in a restaurant. But we try to make it as like the experience as full as possible. So, and we did that with little things. So we sent the people a QR code with the playlist of the restaurant. We explained them how they could make their table nice. The people were dressing themselves. People were putting on their wedding dress and wedding outfits back again. We invited the people to share their experience on Instagram. And eventually, of course, it's not the same quality. It's not an à la minute kitchen. You give main courses, warm main courses to the guest on a plastic plate or a paper plate. Of course, it's not the same, but it's crisis. So everyone is doing what they can, and we needed the business to be able to keep our heads up, and of course, it's controversial. So yes, it's not the same.
But it sounds very nice that you've sent this playlist to the people who ordered your service, and the thing that you've mentioned that they were even putting their gowns from the most important moments of their lives shows us that this is something that made us, the food made them think about what they eat, how they eat, even if they eat at home. So this was partially creating this ambience of fine dining. So it's good to know that somehow we can have it at home even in those challenging times. Agustin, what do you think is worth keeping from the ideas and solutions that we've worked during this pandemic for the future? What can be the things that we should focus on when we are going to work on our businesses further on?
I think now that since we all went through all this challenge, I think it's two keys. One is that we are able to look at ourselves as a business point first, and we are looking to see at every little detail where the money comes and goes. Where before, when everything is good, the money flows in. If it's a little problem, kind of like the success of the business will cover up. Now you really need to look into every little single aspect of it. And then the other thing is being able to adapt quite fast. We are talking about, we were doing a fine dining operation, and next week we need to do a delivery menu, and just like this. And then we close completely the restaurant, and then after 4 days, okay, we open again. So it was very difficult, and we cannot plan so much ahead. We need to leave today. We plan for today, maybe tomorrow. And then one thing that happened to us, we opened, Hong Kong was blooming, Hong Kong was normal, everything was well. We have like 2-3 weeks ahead of booking. So I say, oh, okay, let's start planning. We order this amount of food, we order this amount. And suddenly the government say, okay, we close the restaurants. And then you are like, so then since then we are no more like this. So say, okay, today we plan for today, for tomorrow, because we don't know when this is going to come back. We already have 3 waves. We don't know if it's going to come a 4th one or to come a 5th one. We don't know. It's no way to know until the vaccine is out. So what only we can do is keep our team motivated and keep our team on our feet and able to move quick. And this is what I'm very grateful about the team, who everybody understood this is a very special situation. This is not the normal. It's not normal anymore. And everybody is like, okay, guys, we need to do delivery. Okay, no problem. Let's do this. Because as you guys say, of course, we cannot do the food we serve at the restaurant. We cannot do a takeaway. So we need to come out with a new idea, with a new menu, with something that we will feel comfortable, comfort food, but it has the same quality, the same love, the same passion as we do at the restaurant. So keeping the team on his feet, keeping the team able to adapt, I think is something very important from that lesson from this pandemic.
And Ricardo, what is your opinion, or what is your view on what we have to have in mind when planning for the future within the fine dining?
I think planning for the future, well, as Agustin say, I agree with him. Business point of view, we need to see it internally, how we are operating the restaurants nowadays. And the second thing I would like to add is the human aspect. No, I know most of us, our colleagues, think about the clients like a human beings. But nowadays, it's even more important for us that we need to appreciate every single person that passed through our doors. The treating, it doesn't need to be different. You just need to appreciate a little bit more. So planning ahead, after all this go behind us and preparing us for any eventual other cases that we might have, we need to think about the human factor. Okay, we are all humans and we are all vulnerable of any other problem that we might face. So without each other, we cannot survive. We cannot without the clients, we cannot with suppliers, the producers, and the staff, which is the most important. So one of the things that we also learned through this pandemic, and we keep learning, is that every single step that we do in an operation, it might affect the operation itself. So when the staff is working extra hours, even though we don't have the reservations there because we don't have enough reservations sometimes, but the staff keep working very hard is because they respect what they do and they love what they do so much. So the takeaway that we used to do in the restaurant was something more casual. In my case, in Mono case, was a little bit more approach to South American cuisine. Those dishes that remember family, those dishes that remember reunion instead of distancing, and it made me a little bit more closer home and the people that I love. No, so I think the future of this industry after this pandemic, it will be that approach with the human being and the human connections. No, in these social distancing times, I think the union, reunion, and the communion, it need to be more present than ever. That's the most important thing for me, I think.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for this last idea. Patricia, I would like to tackle you on what just Ricardo said, that we need to, or he felt that there is a need to eat more local in terms of that more of the South American or Venezuelan cuisine for the people to create this feeling of community, or what we ate at our grandma's when we were little, or what we ate at the family gatherings. What is the view on that in Portugal? Did you see anything similar to that? What was the way that the Portuguese market dealt with the pandemic time? What were the solutions, or what are still the solutions in the restaurants over there?
Well, this pandemic was really the time to change perspective on everything, on what you do, on what you eat, on what you serve to the people. In terms of restaurants, of course, they are suffering economically, but they also are having time for the chefs to stay at their own restaurants, to be more creative, to be more alert, to be more careful. The service are improving incredibly. So I think in some way, and I always try to see the positive side of everything, I think there's good things that you can take of this moment. And of course, that's the idea to stay in your own country, to stop always travel all over the world, because of course, tourism is important, but it's also important to be focused on what you do and where you are and people and everything that's around you. And okay, this is challenging times, of course, for everyone, but it's also the time to be more alert and to be more focused on your producer, on what you serve, on what you do, and on your country and in your economy, and have your project really sustainable to keep your team and to keep doing what you love. And I believe that everyone that is in this industry loves food and loves what they are doing. So this is really important about stability and the importance of the local products.
And what is the situation now in Portugal? Are the restaurants closed, partially opened? Are there any restrictions?
Actually, summer was really great for the Portuguese restaurants. The Portuguese stayed in the country. They went to the interior of the country that usually are not so full. So it was an incredible summer for a lot of restaurants outside the big cities. At this point, well, the school just went back, kids when everything started, and so the restaurants are still open. There's no restrictions at this point, except in terms of schedules, of course. And I think Portuguese, well, there's a lot of people still working from home, so the lunches are more are less than usual. But people are eating out more at dinner, and they are going to the restaurants. I think that's not so bad as we first thought that would be. And the interesting thing is that they're opening a lot of new restaurants at this point too. Projects that were almost ready when this pandemic starts, but people they're also reinventing themselves in terms of the menu they are serving, and obviously in new restaurants, because at some point everyone wanted to be in a city center, right, in the main neighborhood, and now people are preferring to go outside the city, near the river, near people with places with more spaces. And so this obviously is an opportunity too for this moment in time.
So let's hope that at least partially it will stay this way, that we can enjoy the localiness if we cannot travel, and we can enjoy those places that you've said that Portuguese. The people in Portugal who normally wouldn't travel to some parts and would travel abroad, that they've discovered those smaller town restaurants and made them flourish, at least for a moment. We all know that the pandemic moved us also much more online. And here I would like to firstly ask Bruna about your experience with talking to chefs on Instagram, doing live talks. This was something quite popular. So what's your view on it as the interviewer? Should it be continued? Should we still try to meet online, or should we rather switch and swift to our non-virtual meetings?
No, I think it was very good to do this lives here in Brazil. Because you can bring the chef too close to the people. Normally, the normal clients can go to the restaurants, the fine dining, but you cannot see and you cannot know the essence of the chef as a person. So these lives bring the opportunity to talk to everyone, to talk to them during an cooking. Or trying, it's another way to experimenting the way of all the chefs are cooking, how they cook at homes, or how you can experimenting yourself to cook at home. It's another way to bring the experience of the restaurants to your home. That's the same thing, I think. Bring the chefs to home will be the new normal. So because to people to go outside will be more difficult to bring the chefs at home. So maybe this is the new hospitality things. I think it's like a trend. Maybe the people are receiving more at homes and not just cooking, but many of the restaurants I saw they send the delivery, but you need to finalize the food in your own home. This is another way to have a different experience in your place, the experience in the restaurant, because fine dining is an experience. It's not just about food, but it's to have the experience. And if this new way of bring back home experiences, it's the contact with food and the contact with chefs. It was very positive for everyone, and all the chefs I spoke with, this way to have these lives on Instagram and all the things. They were very happy. They had a very good feedback from all the clients and all of the people, because you can go and you can touch everyone, even the people don't have the opportunity to go to the restaurant.
It's good to hear that the chefs were also happy to and open to those discussions. And from those talks, do you have any things that you've remembered, especially regarding the chefs' approach to the current situation? Any very non-standard ideas, anything that would stick with you after those talks in this pandemic time?
So yeah, I think for me and also for them, the best thing is to be more nearby the people, because this way of talking, the people raise a lot of questions and a lot of curiosities, and they can talk one-to-one. This we will never we will never lose these things, because I think this is it's weird, because we have a pandemic, but we have all these technologies in these days. So we are here in everyone in each part of the world, and we can talk and we can share experiences. And this normally, and I think Agustin and Joris can speak a little bit more about that, but in the normal days, they are super busy, and also in the events, it's super difficult to contact with people, because normally we have just your own clan in this event and all of these things, and in live streaming and experience, you can touch everyone, so from every part of the world, and from. So I think this is the best part of this pandemic.
So maybe this will also stay with us, those live talks on many media, not only Instagram, with the chefs, bringing us back or bringing us together from all over the world. Joris, you've been summoned by Bruna in terms of online dining. I know that you did this project of online diners with different chefs from all over the world. Tell us more about this project. Tell us more about this experience and what you took out from that.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, one of the things we discussed in the team was, let's try to do everything what we have planned. So if we had an event planned, we tried to let the event go on, as well as for the guest chefs. So the weekend that we had the lockdown started, we had Manu Bufara as a guest chef in Rijks. And we couldn't finish the event, so it was like halfway the weekend that our prime minister closed all the restaurants. So she left, and we had the feeling like we had all these guests coming in for Sunday dinner, but they couldn't come actually. So with Manu, we actually finished that last service online. So she sent her recipes to me. We prepared all those recipes, and we made like a takeaway version of it. So all the guests that should have come on the Sunday evening, Sunday dinner, picked up this takeaway package from Manu and me. And at 7:00 in the evening, we went online on Instagram. We talked to people through the whole menu. We did a nice talk, and we had really good reactions on it. We did the same with the chef of Selfie, and he should have come to Amsterdam as well to cook in my other restaurant, Will's. We did like an online version of the event together with him, and Anatoly also prepared my recipes in Moscow. He created a takeaway menu from it as well, and we had an online stream with it as well. But also we did a pop-up in a hotel called Zoku in Amsterdam. They have lofts, So it's not like typical hotel rooms, but they've got rooms with a kitchen, and like it's made for long stays actually. And of course, the hotel was totally empty. So we created this uh, event with 50 minuscule, like super tiny restaurants for 2 people. So 50 couples, so let's say 100 people, could come in to the hotel, book the hotel, do the check-in at 4 o'clock, and then at 5 o'clock the program started. We did like an online stream where we explained what was going on for the whole evening, and they had like cocktail packages that they could prepare themselves with an online cocktail shaker. And every time we knocked on the door, there was something special. So like, or it was a course, and then we gave like a QR code with an explanation of the course and how they should finish the course. Or there was like a musician or a magician or whatsoever to entertain them in front of their door. And this was the big success as well. And we're going to continue with that one as well. So we had like the whole hotel with like 50 mini restaurants for 2 people.
That sounds like fun. I would even try it without the pandemic, having this experience. So yes, surely it sounds like a project to keep on going. So we still have some positives about this pandemic. It's been challenging for all of us psychologically and in terms of business. But as we see, there are things that we can have as a takeout that is quite positive. The way that the delivery in Brazil is now flourishing, not only delivering hamburgers, but also something that can be more edible, let's say. The way the new projects came to life, as you've just mentioned, this new project or this great delivery that you've mastered during the pandemic time. Ricardo mentioned the way that we are going back to our roots, to our feelings from the childhood. So there are many things that we can cherish or try to find the positive aspects. So I would like to go on with this thought and ask you, Ricardo, do you think there is anything else positive we can take from this pandemic? Anything you've maybe experienced, or you think that it would be good to keep it alive?
Well, I think I rediscover myself as a cook, and I do believe that the food is a method or a way to connect with people. No, like I said before, in this moment of social distancing, everybody avoid to going out or avoid to get exposed to the virus and many things. Then you suffer the consequences of being aware of people that you like, friends, family, or whatever. So I do believe that more than ever, food is a way to connect people. And in my case, in the restaurant that we open here in Hong Kong, it's a way that the people can still travel without moving from the country. No, I'm taking them in every experience to a continent that is very far away, that maybe they never been or maybe they never will go because they are curious, but they don't want to go so far. So with the food, I can take them closer to my roots, where I'm coming from, and to my history. No, so yes, this is something that I need to keep. We need to keep going on, and knowing that the food is the best language and the best tool to connect with people. Doesn't matter the place in the world. Doesn't matter the situation or anything else. It doesn't matter anything. Food is the universal language of union, reunion, and connection with the rest of the world. No?
Thank you. And Agustin, do you also find something positive that we can look up or look forward in the future from the pandemic times?
No, of course. We as a team here at the restaurant, we always look for positive signs. The bad thing is already happening, so the only option we have is to look for positive. I think one of the most positive in the whole aspect is that now restaurants, we know our costs, we know our efforts, but guests before, where everything was normal, the appreciation of people of thinking is like, oh, I'm paying for this tasting menu. This tasting menu costs this money, and this is what I'm paying for this food. But I think now, thanks to this pandemic, people actually know a little bit more of all the effort that's going behind, and all the costs that the restaurant needs to cover, and all the the efforts that people need to do, all the team, is not just about the food, it's about supporting the team, and the team have families and the producer. So that vision got a little bit wider. I think that's something very positive, where chefs and guests, we can understand each other a little bit more, when this becomes very more healthy for the whole industry. This is I think one of the big picture positive things.
Thank you. Within the previous panel, we discussed the problem that the people might have now, those ones that always dreamt about opening their own culinary business, because the times are challenging, and even the experienced businessmen in this area, in the hospitality industry, face those challenges, face all those problems that we have. Would you have, Joris, any advice for the startups, for people who are just thinking about getting into the stream of hospitality industry, what they should keep in mind? Because it seems you are quite inventive in all the things that you do, so maybe they will also take this as a good advice from a person who checked so many options. What is that they really should think about, remember in those times, if they want to join you in your journey?
Well, if you start your business right now, it's a hectic period. But one of the things that we think is that everything we do right now is short term. So we try a lot. Some things work, some things don't work, but we try it. So normally, like without a crisis, first we had an idea, we discussed the idea, and we thought and talked about it for like months before we actually would do something. Now, in this time, since the lockdown, if we have an idea and we think it's a cool idea, we straight away, we try it. We give it a chance, like for 1 week or 2 weeks. If it works, we continue. If it doesn't matter. We throw it away. This time needs positivity, and everyone in the whole world is in the same, like facing the same problems, and there will come better times. So just make sure, like Agustin mentioned before, it's about business, and find your business, and the business model during this pandemic, during this crisis, will most likely be a totally different model from when times are getting back to normal again.
So in other words, let's be brave, let's not sit on the ideas for a long time, but do the test runs, because no one knows what the next week or two can bring, also in terms of pandemic. So we have to be open for our own ideas as well. And Patricia, you are connected with the marketing. What would be your view or your advice for restaurants in those times regarding the strategies, marketing strategies? Do you see any patterns, anything that works and could be helpful to those who are watching us today?
Well, this is the moment to communicate, to be there, to be outside, and to show what you are doing, and to present your project, your creations, and so on. So this is the really most important time to stay alive and to be outstanding. And we just realized that the chefs and the projects that we more intensively promote during the lockdown and so on are the ones that are really well at this point, because when the clients have to select or to choose where to go, that will be there on their top of their minds. So, and they understand the project and what people are doing. It's the same with our project. So we launched it in a specific time, The Art of Tasting Portugal. We truly believe this is the moment to intensify this communication regarding the Portuguese products, the Portuguese chefs, this community, this national goal. And we launched the project with the mission to consume local, consume Portuguese, to stop importing things and have more value to the project. And let's hope that in a short time we can bring this international chefs, like the ones we're talking right now, to Portugal, and to enjoy and for them to try their own dishes with Portuguese products. Maybe this is the time to be more alert to these kind of things too.
Sure. I think that we've also in both discussions, this and the previous one, we said how important is the social media now when people were delivered the fine dining to their homes and they were asked to take pictures of it. It made it Instagrammable, so people already shared their experience, and it made it roll out somehow from itself that other people also wanted to have the same experience, or you really put an extra effort to this evening, and then to have a beautiful photo to show something to the world. I would like to ask also Ricardo and Agustin, because you are both from South America and you are both now in Hong Kong. Is there anything common in your histories making you make this move and change the cultures? As you mentioned, Ricardo, it's quite a distance from one culture to another. You are trying to show people in Hong Kong what are the Venezuelan dishes, what is the culture, what are the roots. Do you, and it would be a question to you both, do you mix the cultures in your cuisine? Do you use both cultures, both what you see in Hong Kong and what you brought from home, or you have a different approach after making such a switch? Maybe Ricardo first.
Well, yes, definitely. My approach of cooking will be very, well, in terms of the style, is very French. I respect a lot the French cuisine. I've been trained for many years in France. I worked 7 years in France in Mirasur. So my approach of cooking will be very talking about the French approach, no? French technique, French ingredient, which is very easy to find also in Hong Kong. But then always using the profile of flavors that represent not only my country, but my continent, no? I think South America is so rich. You have 12 countries. You have almost double the size of China. So the diversity is so big, and having an opportunity, a window to showcase Asia, what we do in South America is a beautiful thing, and it's thanks to Mono, to the restaurant. So yes, I definitely use a lot of memories. My background is very, very big. No, my mom, for the side of my mom is Colombian, Italian. The side of my dad is Venezuelan, Argentinian as well. So I have family in Brazil as well, in Sao Paulo. So I have these memories of trips, travels, and visits to my family that I put in the table every day. And I think it's a beautiful thing to do nowadays, especially when you're so far away, with sometimes nostalgia and sometimes beautiful memories, no, about your culture. And sharing that in a community that is adventurous, that like to go dining outside every day, that travels a lot to the best restaurants in the world. So doing that here in Hong Kong is the perfect place. And I think going back a little bit to your question about this challenging time to open a business, I agree with Joris and Agustin, is you need to take risks sometimes. You need to work your ideas, take it a chance, and there is never a good moment to open a restaurant if you want to go to the root of the thing. No, it's always a challenge. Restaurant is not easy business, and I think virus, pandemic, unrest, protest, call it whatever you want. There is never a good moment. There is never a good place. It's just the will to do it, the passion to do it, the right people to do it as well around you, and the talent. I think is something very important to take in consideration.
Thank you. Agustin?
Yeah, so well, for us, one thing that we share in common being from South America is the challenge. We always go through challenge. So in South America, every day we have any sort of problem, any day. So that attitude gives us this positive attitude we have. It's like, okay, we have another problem, no problem. Let's go and let's face it, and let's go through it. And this is we share the same. And his restaurant from my restaurant, we are like 3 blocks away. Even we do very different, but our cuisine makes sense. So I'm from Argentina, but my family comes from Spain, like probably all of Argentina or Italy. And I train in Japan. So my cuisine is based in Spanish products made of my memories of my grandmother with some Japanese technique that I learned because I worked there for 6 years. So it's not about a location. It's about my experiences, my journey as a chef, that it has these 2 countries, ingredients and techniques combined. but it's not about the location. It's about my experience. It's about my cuisine. It's about what I do. And with the same approach, no? Yes, we are from South America, and we have a problem. Okay, no problem. Let's go to it.
Probably no problem, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I need to go back to what he say. Something that I always say as well is we need to make sense. No, sometimes, and especially nowadays, the most important thing is everything you do, you need to make sense. You don't do things for fashion. You don't do things because the neighbor is doing the same. You need to find yourself as a chef, as a cook, and try to put in the table something that the people, when they try, it makes sense. What it makes sense? Well, in the case of Agustin, the Spanish background and also South American background, but incorporated with technique from Japan because he chose that path. And me, in my case, I'm from South America as well, but I choose France. So we are both doing what we love to do, what we know how to do, and whatever it makes sense. No, it's very, very important to go back to the things that make sense.
And Agustin, you've mentioned that you've learned things in Japan working for such a long time there. And apart from techniques, apart from the cuisine itself, did you learn any philosophy there regarding food or keeping the restaurant business alive that helps you in those times? Is there anything challenging Japanese? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
One thing that you can put is the consistency and dedication. This, I think, is one of the icons of Japanese dedication. So this is what we put. It's not just about cooking. For example, my wife is Japanese, my kids are half as well, mixed. So it's not just about cooking. I learn a lot about the culture, about the way of thinking. And it's a little bit different what we think, but of course, everything helps. Everything, they say the attitude from South America, like going all the time to the problems, okay, let's go, let's make it happen, with the dedication. You combine these both and the constant thing of keeping doing. This both combined, it makes a little bit easier. Of course, it's not easy, but it makes it a little bit easier, at least in your mind and when you transmit to the team. Because we don't need to forget that we are, as a chefs, we are not only cooks, but as well we are team leaders. We need to make sure our team and our staff, they are mentally, psychologically happy, in a good place in the head to come to work, because it's so easy to get depressed, to lose the motivation. So this is our challenge too, and I think now is something that we learn as chefs too, is how to even be better managers, how to manage the team and push the team so they don't feel all the the news you to the TV. Oh, everything's bad, the war is going to end, everything is worse. It's the worst. So how you fight against and make sure first they are safe, and then they take care when they leave the restaurant, they don't get sick, and then how to keep them motivated, and you motivate yourself to motivate them. So it's a lot of things that we learn thanks to these two paths, no, the dedication and the okay, no problem, let's go, like South American style.
Agustin, thank you very much for this very important thought, because we are still talking about the restaurant, the business, everything, but there is always a chef, a person still being a human being, also also hearing all this information, all this bad press, and also somehow being just as a normal person exposed to all the feelings and to all the challenges in a most personal way. So Joris, I would like to ask you, do you see any change in the role of the chef in the future? Do you think that the chefs have to think about themselves a little bit differently since we started those pandemic times?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that have been already said, but there was also already a trend going on where restaurants were looking more to the mental health of their teams, to the mental health of looking more after human beings instead of like thinking that there are robots or something. And that, of course, like a lot of things are going much faster because of this crisis and pandemic. And what I see in my team is that there was also always a big border between front of house and back of house, even though we didn't want that, but it's there. And during this pandemic, we all of a sudden just started to work together. Everyone was like in the modus of like, okay, we need to survive, we need to find new business, we need to do something to keep on working. And yeah, so the human part of chefs is chefs are developing that much faster than before, I guess.
So let's keep it in mind that this mental health is also something very important, especially in those challenging times. I would like to go back to one aspect that we mentioned today, and to use the opportunity that we have Bruna with us, who is the specialist of the social media. What do you think will be the role of social media in the restaurant business in the future? You did a lot of those talks. You were very active on Instagram. What do you think, or how the social media can help the businesses flourish in those times?
So I think the social media is the new era of every communication you can have. If you are not in social media, you're actually doesn't exist, because every new child is born, they probably born with some tablet or with some smartphone at their hands, so they are much more active on these things, and is the new way to communicate and to get to everyone, and this kind of important. And the important is also the message we want to expand, to share with these people. So it's a way, it's a via to communicate good and to communicate well, and to do some culturalize the new era, the newborns in fine dining, gastronomic, and the products, and how to important is to eat well and good products, because we are we have a lot of products in the market, and very ultra processed food, and this is not really healthy. So if all the chefs and the media is shortening the communication, and the time is everything is very fast now. So it's important, the message, the chefs and all of the social media is sparing in this to the people, because everyone has access to social media. So really everyone. So with from the child, the three-year-old child until the 80 people, so elderly 80 people. So we need to think before share everything in the social media. So
Yeah.
this is important.
Yeah. Let's think before we click publish. Yes.
Yes.
To some business and to some people, it should be a main rule, because we get too much information we not so much need, but still there is a force with the social media. Patricia, do you remember of seeing in Portugal any example of good use of social media to enhance the restaurant business? Any campaign, anything that would stick with you, that was effective, or you liked it because of how it looked, what it said? Anything from the pandemic times?
We launched an initiative like this in the first day of the lockdown here in Portugal. We launched Wine Hour at Home. It was on Instagram with lives with the main wine producers, because it's one of the areas, one of the sectors that we work with. So it was really important. And the idea was not only to talk with the Portuguese producers, but also with some international ones like Liber Partner or so important names of the worldwide area of wines. And so the project it started in the lockdown, but it's maintaining, and we are just launching the new stage of the project, going to the wineries with the winemakers. And the cool thing about it was that people at home was actually buying the wines that we were talking about during the lives. So it was not only interesting in terms of awareness, but also in terms of selling the wines that were involved. And we were covering all of the territory and the main brands, not only the big ones, but also small producers with really interesting projects. But in global things, I truly believe in the digital era, in this importance to stay connected. But I think it's also so important to do something, because well, here in Portugal, as soon as the lockdown ended, no one was looking, or the importance of the social media really went down, and people were really focused on opening doors and working and being focused. So I think this has to be balanced. It's important to digital, but it's also important to work and to do it, and to like Joris was saying, let's try to do this. I don't know if it's going to work, but we do have to try it. We do have to launch it. We do have to promote it. So I think this is the importance, and this is the balance that we should have between digital and trying to get back on what we do.
Mm-hmm. And Joris, you've all again been summoned for your words, and I would like to ask you about this campaign for your delivery, because I've heard it was quite interesting. So could you elaborate on it a little bit?
Our campaign, our delivery and takeaway campaign. Well, it was actually quite simple, but we made big use, of course, of Instagram, and we made like short videos in the city. Like Amsterdam was totally empty. I've never seen something like that. From a time where we were overcrowded with tourism, from one day to another, we had like a ghost town. So it was like the perfect setting to make beautiful videos. For example, when we launched our breakfast takeaway, there was a moment that the whole team, we had about 60 people working in our restaurant, and the whole team, like there were a couple of people with some complaints, and we said, okay, you better stay home. Just wait and see if there's something serious, or it's just a little fever or whatever. And those people were coming back. So we had like 60 people that we wanted to give work, and 60 people in a small restaurant is not like safe. So we thought like, okay, can we split up the team? So let's do like a dinner takeaway, and let's do like a breakfast takeaway. So we can have like two teams, one team working in the morning and one team in the afternoon. So very really practical ways of like creating a safe working space. And so we started to make a video, and we did everything actually with just a simple iPhone, no cameras like professional cameras whatsoever. Just me and my marketing colleague driving on a bicycle through Amsterdam in the morning when there was no one to be seen in the whole of Amsterdam, and we had so much fun. And we just like went with this little table and the chair to all these iconic places in Amsterdam, iconic buildings, iconic squares, with a breakfast, and made like a different video every week. And we did the same for our dinners. And like one of the photos that we took in the beginning was like, I mentioned in the beginning of the talk already, I was sitting on a bicycle with like a Deliveroo suit on, and that photo went all over the place. Like the big newspapers published that photo. So it was like a fun way of telling what we were doing, and like a positive way. I think and I hope it inspired my colleagues in Amsterdam, because like there were so many restaurants that said like, okay, this lockdown will only last like for 3 weeks. We will not go and do delivery and takeaway because that is not our standard. And I think and I hope that like all our videos and our positive way of communicating inspired them to do it, because everyone needed it eventually. And also I wanted to add like one of the things that we start to value more is the value of your community. Like all of a sudden there was no tourism anymore. There was no business clients anymore. So you were very dependent on your local community, and now we can see how important it is to invest in your local community. So not only to be there as a restaurant and serve food and drinks every day, but to do more for your community, like to do something for your city, to make your city be successful on the long term. And in that way you create like a safe, financially safe environment as well for yourself, because you need those people that live around the corner, and they need you, so you need to be there for each other.
Thank you very much, guys. I would like to conclude this discussion with some positive message, because we all very need this all around the world to have a take out from such discussions as a very positive one. So I would like to ask each of you to say something positive that you will take out from this pandemic, or from the ideas that you've heard. So maybe I'll start with the ladies. Patricia?
Well, I'm kind of repeating myself, but I think actually it's really be more local, more present from where you are, for your home, for your business, for your people, and as Joris were saying, your local community. That's so important. I think this is the moment to do this and to rethink, to readjust, but actually to be there, to be present.
Thank you. Bruna?
So my message is be creative. This is keep doing all these things they are doing. This very, very nice to see how everyone is improving and being creative, and be positive, not just positive, but we always have another way to do the things we are accustomed to do. So keep going, and
let's not give up.
Yes.
Ricardo?
I think the best outtake I can have from this situation is that we are not alone. We need to be positive. We need to keep pushing every day. We need to be thankful to our staff and our colleagues, our partners, and our friends and family. But the most important thing is we need to see always the positive outcomes and not the negative only. Out of difficult times, always is something good around the corner. So helping each other, helping the community, we always can be better than we was before. I don't think we're gonna back to normal. I think we're going back to new, and that new is gonna be very positive, very good for everyone. If we keep thinking in the half full glass and not the empty one, no?
So creating the new positive normal. Agustin?
I think what we take positive is like stay together with the colleagues, stay together with the team. We live in more in the human, empathic, say in English, to be more empathic with your colleagues, to be there for them. No more as say, oh, we are competition. My restaurant is there, your restaurant. It's more like, hey, we are all in this together. We are in the same dance. So you need something, I'm here for you. And when I need something, you are there for me. And it's the only way that the city, every city, in this case here or everywhere, we can all come together and we can all inspire each other to become a better options for the people who will come to eat our restaurant. So our positive is like, I think from this we will be more together. We will see the whole industry from a different perspective, and we will be here for each other.
Thank you. And Joris, the heartwarming words from you?
Well, I learned a lot from this talk as well, and I love the problem, no problem statement. That's definitely something we were already trying to do, and we will keep on doing it. And also, I want to say to everyone, don't think twice. Like, if you have an idea, do it. But first of all, think of about your team. Think about yourself and your team. That's on first place, and then comes the rest.
Guys.